The sight was unmistakable. Rows of white wooden rocking chairs lined up neatly on the front porch, gently as travelers took a moment to stretch their legs after hours on the road. Inside, the smell of biscuits and country ham filled the air, mingling with the sweet aroma of old-fashioned candy from the gift shop. Peg solitaire boards sat on every table, daring kids to test their brains while waiting for food. And shelves were stacked high with nostalgic trinkets, toys, and tins of syrup. For generations of families, pulling into a Cracker Barrel wasn't just about filling your stomach. It was about stepping into something that felt cozy, familiar, and safe. For many, it was Grandma's favorite spot, the one place that made road trips feel like home. At its peak, Cracker Barrel was more than a restaurant. It was a cultural institution. Founded in 1969 in Lebanon, Tennessee, the chain tapped into something deeply rooted in the American psyche: nostalgia. In an era when highways were booming and long-distance car travel was becoming part of everyday life, Cracker Barrel offered weary families a place that felt like stepping back in time. The rocking chairs, checkerboards, and country store vibe weren't accidents. They were carefully designed to remind people of simpler days. The food sealed the deal: chicken and dumplings, fried okra, cornbread muffins, country fried steak, meatloaf, and hash brown casserole. It was the kind of food that didn't just fill you up, it wrapped you in comfort. For decades, it worked. Families made Cracker Barrel part of their road trip rituals. Parents knew the kids could browse candy sticks, toy tractors, or puzzles in the gift shop while waiting for their table. Grandparents loved the old-time music piped through the speakers, and the friendly servers calling everyone hun or darlin'. It wasn't fast food, and it wasn't fine dining. It was something in between. A place where you could sit for a while, order bottomless sweet tea, and get a plate of food that felt like it came straight from Grandma's kitchen. The gift shop made it even more than a meal stop. It was a mini adventure, a chance to pick up a bag of Whorehound candy or a retro soda you couldn't find anywhere else. Cracker Barrel became a road trip staple, expanding across interstate exits all over the country. Its very presence reassured travelers. Spotting that rustic wooden sign after hours of driving felt like a reward, a guaranteed place where you knew exactly what you were getting. It was the kind of brand loyalty that couldn't be bought. It was earned through consistency, comfort, and culture. For many families in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, it wasn't unusual to plan trips around where the Cracker Barrels were. It wasn't just another restaurant. It was part of the journey. But today, the story feels different. Cracker Barrel is struggling to hold on to that magic. The chain has faced declining sales, closures, a dwindling sense of relevance. What once felt like a warm hug on the highway now feels to some like a relic. The menu has changed, trimming down classics in favor of trendier offerings like cauliflower rice bowls or plant-based sausage. The rustic charm that once resonated with baby boomers and Gen X doesn't hit quite the same for younger generations raised on Starbucks, Chipotle, and food delivery apps. For them, the rocking chairs and checkerboards feel more like kitsch than comfort. Even the business model has shown cracks. Maintaining large dining rooms, expansive gift shops, and full menus is expensive in an era when consumers are gravitating towards speed and convenience. The younger crowd doesn't want to sit for an hour on the road. They'd rather grab something fast and get moving. COVID-19 dealt a particularly harsh blow. With dining rooms closed, Cracker Barrel's appeal was gutted. Its atmosphere was the draw, and that couldn't be replicated in a takeout box. Some locations never recovered. Part of the challenge is generational. Cracker Barrel built its empire on nostalgia, on food and decor that reminded diners of rural America, country kitchens, and old-fashioned family dinners. But nostalgia has a shelf life. The younger diners who make up today's market don't share the same connection to rocking chairs and old country stores. Their idea of comfort food might lean more toward avocado toast, sushi, or street tacos. The cultural references that once made Cracker Barrel a cozy stop now risk feeling outdated. And yet, for those who grew up with it, the memories are powerful. Many people recall their first time walking through the gift shop, eyes wide at the jars of candy sticks or the shelves of quirky toys. Some remember long drives to visit relatives, where Cracker Barrel breaks became highlights of the trip. Others recall family reunions, where meeting at a Cracker Barrel halfway between two towns made perfect sense. The rocking chairs weren't just decoration. They were places where kids played while parents checked road maps, or where grandparents sat while waiting for the family to be called to their table. The food itself was part of the identity. Few who grew up eating there forget the hash brown casserole, that cheesy, crispy, comforting side that seemed to go with everything. The biscuits, hot from the oven, slathered in butter and honey, felt like a promise that the meal would be good. And the portions, hearty, filling, unapologetically indulgent, were designed to make you feel like you got your money's worth. For families on the road, there was reassurance in that. You could trust Cracker Barrel to deliver a good meal without surprises, the same way you could trust Grandma's kitchen. What's striking is how personal the memories are. One person might remember ordering pancakes stacked high with syrup as a kid, while another might recall picking up a checkerboard set from the gift shop and playing it in the back seat during the drive. Cracker Barrel was woven into the fabric of family travel, and those small details linger. That's what makes the brand's decline sting for many. It's not just a restaurant fading, it's a piece of personal history losing ground. In trying to adapt, Cracker Barrel faces a difficult balancing act. Modernizing the menu and updating the brand risks alienating its core audience, the older diners who still see it as comfort food central. But clinging to the past risks making the chain irrelevant to younger families who see it as outdated. It's a classic struggle of nostalgia versus necessity, and so far, the company hasn't fully solved it. The closures tell the story. The restaurant that once felt like a guaranteed road trip stop now feels like a gamble. Still, there's an undeniable pull when you see one of those familiar wooden signs from the highway. For many, it sparks the same reaction it always did: relief, anticipation, and a smile. Even if the menu isn't what it once was, even if the atmosphere feels different, the memory remains intact. People still remember the smell of biscuits, the sound of rocking chairs creaking, and the joy of wandering through the gift shop with a bag of candy sticks in hand. Because at its core, Cracker Barrel was never just about the food. It was about the feeling of arriving somewhere safe and welcoming after hours on the road. It was about slowing down, even if just for a meal, and sharing that moment with family. It was about Grandma smiling across the table, telling you to eat your cornbread, or Dad sneaking one more spoonful of hash brown casserole before anyone noticed. Times have changed, audiences have shifted, and the road trip culture that made Cracker Barrel thrive isn't what it once was. But the memories endure, and for those who grew up with it, no matter how many locations close or menus change, the truth remains simple. Cracker Barrel wasn't just food, it was home on the road.